So I want to take you down to Thurston County. This is one of the worst examples I've seen of a judge completely putting public safety in jeopardy for the sake of, I don't know, some sort of woke agenda. So I'm going to play for you a car chase video. So there is a woman behind the wheel of this truck. Again, this is in Thurston County, and she's being pursued. And you'll hear the deputies talking a little bit about the justification and whether they can pursue her, and they eventually run a pit maneuver. So let's roll the video, and we'll take you through this.
39, PC, assault 1.
PC, assault 1. Check 1's down, a silent code 10.
So they're talking about how they've got probable cause to pursue her on an assault 1.
And you do hear a Zach Brown band in the background.
Yeah, he's playing Little
We're hoping
YouTube. The cop is.
We're hoping YouTube doesn't pull it. The whole pursuit, though. I love that he leaves it on.
Who's number 1 in the pursuit?
I am.
I mean, high speeds, going in for the pit. So even after the pit, she's trying to drive away.
Still going.
Try again. That was a good one. Still trying to drive away.
Failed pit.
Failed pit.
Third one.
Not
Fourth?
to let him on that freeway.
They're really trying to avoid her getting on the highway, yeah.
Yeah. Fourth one. Now it finally spins the truck. And she's still trying to get away. So in the video, another deputy will come out and try to pit from the front.
Radio 14,
And now you got two deputies. She's still trying to back up, trying to get away. The door, the passenger side door, is now wide open.
Ripped off. Partway.
3 deputies on scene. I mean, she was trying to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Get on the ground!
She's still got chicken fried playing in the background.
Yep.
So that's from the Thurston County Sheriff's Office. So, okay, all right, that was a lot to get somebody into custody. They had the probable cause to do the pursuit, thankfully, because of a couple slight tweaks in the state law, although the state law is still way too restrictive with police. So end up getting this individual in custody. She is booked on 3 counts of assault in the first degree, possession of a stolen vehicle, attempt to elude, and DUI. Well, that seems pretty like a reasonable reason to put some bail down, right? To say, hey, I'm going to set your bail kind of high because they tried to pitch you like 4 or 5 times, and it took 3 sheriff's deputies to get there before you stopped trying to flee from law enforcement.
Well, she also tried to hit them. Like, she swerved to hit their
Yeah.
cars.
Also, this is someone, before I get to what happened here, 17 criminal convictions. This is someone who has failed to appear for court 5 times. So put yourself in the position of a judge, and that's the person who walks into your courtroom. They are there on multiple counts, tried to flee from law enforcement. They had to engage in a pit maneuver, still tried to get away, has 17 criminal convictions, failed to appear for court hearings 5 times. I feel like any reasonable, rationally thinking judge who's actually doing their duty to the public I've been in enough court hearings for first appearances to say, I feel like 100,000 isn't unreasonable. 200,000 isn't unreasonable. Well, let's take you down to the courtroom of a Thurston County judge who we have talked about on the show before, Judge Sharonda Amamio. Well, Judge Sharonda Amamio got this woman in her courtroom and decided to release her without any bail. Release her without any bail. This isn't Seattle, folks. This is Thurston County. The headline from our friend Jason Rance, judge releases prolific offender who skipped 5 court dates. It says Thurston County Superior Court Judge Sharonda Amamio released the suspect on her own personal recognizance on the promise she'd return for a future court date. That doesn't seem likely, Rance writes. Sanders points out, and he's talking about Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders, who posted about this entire ordeal, points out the suspect has failed to appear for court 5 times. She's also a prolific offender with 17 criminal convictions, which include making false statements, theft, burglary, assault, reckless driving, reckless endangerment, possession of drugs, and felony retail theft. Now, that's not it. This gets even worse because this particular judge, and Nicole, will you look again to see, I think she was an Inslee appointee. Or might have been a replacement. You just double check that as I read this. So we've talked about this judge, again, Sharonda Amamio, before. It's because she was recently featured on our show because she released a man who was accused of raping his minor child over the span of several years on $10,000 bail. Remember that story? How outraged we were by it? You've got a guy who's in front of you accused of child rape, and you set bail at $10,000? Which means that he only has to come up with $1,000 cash to get bonded out? And I will say that she was criticized pretty roundly for that decision. Because in that case with the dad, and I don't know if this was his biological child, not that it particularly matters. The prosecutors wanted bail set at $250,000 for the alleged child rapist. And this judge is like, let's split the difference between $0 and $250,000, $10,000. And now here she is, releasing someone who comes in front of her, had just led police on a high-speed chase, which the left tells us is really dangerous for the public, right? But although they say the danger is the fault of the police, not the danger being the fault of the person who's actually fleeing from law enforcement, is booked in assault in the first degree, possession of a stolen vehicle, attempt to elude, DUI. 17 criminal convictions. Has already failed to appear for court 5 times. This judge, Sharonda Amamio, decides, you'll come back. Because remember what a judge is supposed to weigh in the moment, right? They're supposed to weigh the seriousness of the crime, alleged crime. They're supposed to weigh whether this person is likely to come back to court and whether this person poses a risk to the community if they're released. On all 3 of those fronts, this is someone who should have to put up bail. They're not likely to reappear. She already has missed 5 court dates. She obviously presents a danger to the community. She fled from law enforcement at high speeds. Threat to the community? I mean, she's got 17 criminal convictions. This is crazy stuff. Nicole, did you see? Is she an Inslee appointee?
She actually was I don't know if she was an Inslee appointee before 2020, but I believe she was elected in 2020.
Elected in 2020 by the people of Thurston County. Maybe you want to reconsider that. So she would be back on the ballot then in 2024 if she wants to run for her job again. We're not going to forget you. I can promise you, come 2024, we'll have a list of judges. That was something Dory was really good at. Dory would always keep a list of judges and try to, when elections came around,
goal.
remind people of what they did.
That was our goal, to have a big list.
Yeah. So just ridiculous stuff. I mean, it gets worse and worse. And again, we talk about the consequences of having a Democratic governor who's soft on crime in the governor's office for 11 years. Well, you get to stack the courts, and we don't know if she was initially appointed or she ran for office. But what happens in Seattle and that anti-police, pro-crime sentiment, it's spilling out everywhere. I mean, you're not going to be able to escape it. You think you can leave Seattle and escape it? Not anymore. So that is just ridiculous.